time that policy was not working because and the claim ratio was very high, and our broker told us later on that that product has been discontinued, and that kind of created certain uncertainty. So we felt that with a primary goal being to provide financial security to our alumni, we didn't want to create an uncertain environment around policy. So we decided to focus on top-ups, and we wanted to provide good range of top-up amount. So this policy actually brings in top-up amount as high as 75 lakhs. So that's been our focus. Our endeavor has been to include as many people from the family, in-laws, parents, so that it kind of helps the alumni in terms of ensuring that the entire family is covered. So, and the only way to therefore do that was to go to private sector, because the public sector policies are very limited. The top-ups are not more than 15-20 lakhs. And that's the reason we went to private sector. And the rest I'll hand over to Bodayan and ask him to cover the rest of the policy, the specific features. Please feel free to ask questions, and we would like to answer them as honestly as we can. Thank you so much. Bodayan, please.
Yeah. Thanks, Rajbir sir, and thanks Deepu, and thanks everybody who's joined us today. So quickly, what are we covering here? So what do we have in the insurance program? We have a super topper program, where we can cover alumni, spouse, up to 2 kids, 2 parents, up to 2 parents, and up to 2 parent-in-laws, up to a sum insured of 75 lakhs. Now there are 2 deductibles in the policy. You can either choose a 5 lakh deductible or a 10 lakh deductible. Deductible means till what extent the policy is not going to trigger or is going to trigger beyond that particular amount. So if I choose a 5 lakh deductible and I bring in a claim of 7 lakhs, then 5 lakh is to be paid from my base policy or my existing other insurance policy or from my pocket. From the 5 lakh 1,000, this will particularly pick up. This particular policy will trigger, and then accordingly the balance amount comes in. Now, the beauty is that this is a super topper program. And when we talk about a super topper program, it means that the deductible takes into account claims in aggregate. So once here I'm able to cross the deductible, all my claims can this policy. That's the beauty of a super topper program. We also have a personal accident coverage of 1 crore for a line spouse and lakhs for child, which comes as an optional part. So when you go to the app and when you do the journey, go through the journey, you will see that first you'll have to choose your family members, key in their details, then you look into their age, then you look into the sum insured, deductible, do the permutation combination on premiums. And then there is an optional part which comes in a personal accident coverage of 1 crore for you and your spouse and 10 lakhs per child. If you click that, then that premium gets added onto it. Now, quickly, when I move on so this basically has been covered by Rajbir sir in terms of like our super topper policy.
So let's not cover, Bodayan, let's not cover comparison briefly. Let's talk about a product first and go to
that. Right. So the features of the program, basically, the features of the program are that the plan, it was planned and it was decided that we need to have an optimal and a sustainable program which runs across the years, and with zero data available, this is how we wanted to proceed. So we were looking for an optimal and sustainable option, and as Rajbir sir said, that because of the market changes and all, there were a lot of to and fro's with the product. Then what we were able to get from the market, we were able to get no medicals for any age. That's one of the points here. We can get anybody in this proposal, and the medicals are not required. If you get into any other health insurance proposal beyond 45, almost all of us require a medical clearance to be done. There is a PED waiting period of 1 year only. In the market, the PEDs range between 3 to 4 years waiting period. The room rent definition is pretty good. You can get into any kind of room other than suite. ICU is completely on actuals. There is no copay even for parents and in-laws. So when I talk about no copay, a lot of parental policies are there in the market that there's a 20% or a 30% copay. In this case, there is no copay. You can choose high sum insured of 75 lakhs for, for segments like alumni, spouse, kid being one, up to 2 parents being another, up to 2 in-laws being another. You can take your parents and your in-laws simultaneously into the policy. Now, here, what I would do is I would quickly move on to the product brochure from here and showcase the product as well. And in case you have questions, I would request you to park them on the chat window. Please parking your questions on the chat window so that given a chance, we can get into that. Yeah, just give me a minute. Yeah, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, Vadan.
Yeah, thanks for confirming. So ideally now coming to the product part of it, what do we have here? We have the Super Top-Up Medical Program where we can cover this self, we can cover alumni, we can cover alumni spouse, up to 2 children, up to 2 parents, and up to 2 parent-in-laws. So ideally, if both husband and wife are alumni, a couple of scenarios where we came across this. So one of you needs to take the policy and that's enough. You can cover either sides. The age criteria for self is 18 to 70 years. For child is 90 days to 25 years. For parents is maximum entry age 70 years. And if you get into this policy and based on renewals, you would continue beyond 70 as well. Policy tenure is 1 year. Any medical checkup required before buying the policy? No. So we have the cashless facility and reimbursement facility as well. The cashless facility is available across 10,000 plus network hospitals. Available sum insureds are 10 lakh, 15 lakh, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, and 75 lakhs. The 2 deductible options are 5 lakh and a 10 lakh deductible. Room rent is any category room except suite. ICUs on actuals. Daycare treatment is covered. Inpatient hospitalization is covered. Pre and post hospitalization is covered. Hospitalization at home, which is called domiciliary hospitalization, is covered. Ambulance is covered up to rupees 5,000 per hospitalization. Donor expenses are covered. And the waiting period is pre-existing disease and specific disease waiting period is 12 months. So if you get into the app, you will real time see the rater triggering the premium. We have also shared across the brochure. This is the brochure that I'm going through. You can look at the premiums in the brochure part as well. Now, from here, I will quickly move on to the next part of the presentation. I'll get back to the presentation here again. And if you have any questions, I would request, please keep them parking on the chat window. So ideally now I'll explain the deductible scenario on the product side of it and why we kept a deductible. We kept a deductible because so that entry into the program becomes easier. And we understood that most of the alums would be having existing base policies to some particular amount, maybe 5 lakh or 4 lakh or 3 lakh. And hence we decided that we would look at a deductible in our program. Now, in the current scenario, if you see, if James Bond is the alum and he chooses 3 combinations, alumni, spouse, kids combination, he chooses up to 2 parents and he chooses up to 2 parent-in-laws. The sum insured chosen by James Bond is 50 lakhs and deductible is 5 lakhs. Now, we will see the order of claims and how it is going to hit in, suppose we choose all the 3 program policy combinations, how it's going to fare. If suppose the first claim of 3 lakh comes in the alumni spouse kid policy, James Bond spouse gets into some kind of medical complication and there's a claim of 3 lakhs, for example. So the first question is the claim payable? No, the claim is not payable because the deductible is 5 lakhs. This amount is less than 5 lakhs. Now there's a second claim which comes in of 7 lakhs and this claim is of one of the parents of James Bond. And what is the payable amount? The payable amount is 7 minus 5 being the deductible, 2 lakhs. So any amount which is payable has to be above the deductible. Now on the third claim, there's a third claim which comes in of 4 lakhs on the alumni spouse kid policy again. Now, if you look at the alumni spouse kid, we have reported a 3 lakh claim. We have reported a 4 lakh claim now. So 3 plus 4 is 7. So ideally 7 minus 5, 5 being the deductible, 2 lakhs will get paid in the alumni spouse kid policy. Again, now suppose there is a 10 lakh claim coming on the parent-in-laws policy. Both the parent-in-laws have become severely ill. They have got hospitalized. Is the claim payable? Yes, the claim is payable and the payable amount is 5 lakhs. Understanding that 5 being the deductible. And there is another claim which comes in of one of the parents who enters into a very complicated medical complication. And there's an amount of 20 lakhs. So ideally, if you see in the claim number 2, we have already crossed the deductible of 5 lakhs. So now this entire 20 lakhs gets paid. So this is a small, explanation in terms of how a deductible works and how the deductible will work in our policy combination as well. So ideally, many of the alums came back and asked that, is it a 5 plus 5 plus 5, 15 lakh deductible? So ideally, if you take a 5 lakh deductible, it's a 5 lakh deductible across every policy segment. One policy segment is alumni spouse up to 2 kids. The second one is up to 2 parents. And the third one is up to 2 parent-in-laws. So key points on policy issuance, very important. Alumni can enroll and make payment for choice of plan. The enrollment is already on. If you feel like you've made your choice, please go ahead and do it. You can do it latest by 13th of March. Once you choose your plan and make payment, post that you will receive an email confirming your choice. The policy will be issued at a later date, post 13th of March, post closure of enrollment period. All alumni will have same policy issuance date in their policies. You can avail a tax deduction if you are the proposer for your policy and parents. In case of cancellation, the refund will happen from IIMBAA post 30 days. The IIMBAA fee is not going to be refunded. If an alum cancels during enrollment and wants to re-enroll again for a different sum insured and deductible, alumni will have to enroll again. Refund for the earlier chosen option will not be adjusted. Safe draft option is definitely there, which can be used. There is a help desk email ID, IIMBAA insurance plan @zopperinsurance.com. You can park your questions out there and we will come back. We have already started, we've almost received around 85 questions there, where we are answering them back one by one. So quickly now, there is the partners where Zopper, who is your insurance broker, and Digit, who is your insurance company. And if I talk about Digit, they have been the fastest growing insurance company. They are managing almost 1.5 lakh retail policies and 18.5 lakh group health lives. They are managing in terms of health insurance, and their claim settlement ratio is 96% as per last IIDA report. Now, how to enroll for the program? You have to download the IIMBAA app, register yourself as an alumni if not done. Go to the privileges section. You go to the top left corner. Once you enter the home screen, go to the top left corner, click on privileges, click on insurance, and proceed with the insurance journey. So that being there, Nusrat, I would request you now to quickly show us the enrollment journey.
Sure, Bhutan. Just give me a couple of minutes. I'm sharing my screen.
Sure. So what we're trying to showcase now and how Nusrat is trying to help us is how we are going to enroll in the app.
I hope my screen is visible to all of you.
Yeah, Nusrat.
All right, so this is the landing page wherein you will route once you click on the privileges, then on the insurance tab on the IIMBAA application. And this is the only way you can land on this page. Since my information is populated on IIMBAA application, the insurance page is already pre-populating that information for me. I can choose to repopulate it. And once I confirm that everything is according to my requirement, I move forward.
Nusrat, let's spend some time here talking about the couple of queries around enrollment number, mobile number, because there are a few queries around that, especially if people are from outside India, and
Sure.
also the enrollment number. The couple of Bodayan, you may want to.
Yeah, I'll do that, sir. I'll do that. So ideally, on the enrollment number, you can put in your batch passing year as well. So if I passed out in say 1994, I would put in as 1994, and it should take it. If you're having an issue, please ping us. We will try and resolve that. We got in some queries in terms of that NRIs wanted to put in their mobile numbers. We are changing the development accordingly, and that will be up shortly, where you'll be able to put in your other mobile numbers which do not pertain to India. But one thing is to be understood that the jurisdiction of this particular policy will be India. So if you have to take medical benefits, you'll have to get hospitalized in India. So that's as per the Indian regulations. Yeah, no, sir. Over to you.
Sure. Also, you can change after the development is done as per the requirement, which is of non-Indian numbers. That will populate here, but the country, PIN code and address will be of India only. This is just to clarify that this would be done. I'm gonna move ahead.
So by default, your batch, your course, passing year and all should get populated automatically because we've done an API integration with the IIMBAA database. So when you click on insurance button and accept the button, then this is the page that's next going to come up from where Nusrat has started the journey. So automatically your batch credentials will get picked up here through API integration. And this is what you will see, and then you can change certain fields out here. So date of birth also is editable based on if there is any kind of incorrect data which is reflecting there, like your mobile number needs to be changed, your address needs to be changed, everything can be done here. Yeah, no, sir.
Thanks for that. So I'm going ahead and moving forward. This is a disclaimer that I have to read and understood, just to be on the safer side that this information shouldn't be disclosed outside the premises of IIM Bangalore. This is the insurance policies page where I can have a look of all the policy members I can get covered under the umbrella of one single policy. So policy 1, I'm covering self, spouse, son and daughter. Policy 2, mother and father. And policy 3, mother-in-law, father-in-law. I can also download the brochure from here. And I can see the entire gist of the policy in the brochure, as well as the rate card if I want to compare the rates. This is the helpline number where you can connect anytime whenever you feel there's a need to connect to. I'm gonna select self, spouse and daughter. In policy 2, I'm gonna select my mom, and in policy 3, I'm gonna select my father-in-law. By any chance, if you want to have a look into the frequently asked questions, you can quickly click on the FAQ section and have a look to rectify your doubts. I'm going forward. Here I've selected myself, spouse, daughter, mother and father. So in the next page, only these selections would be visible. Here it's my pre-populated name. Since I've already populated data here, that's why it's coming populated. Otherwise it would have come, if for the first time user, it will come like this. I can populate my data. I can change the age accordingly as per the Aadhaar card, and I'll move forward. The moment I change the date of birth, the age will display here. Let me know if I'm going way too fast. I'll slow down.
No, it's correct, sir.
Sure.
So this is how you can get into the app, look at the dates, change the dates accordingly. Ideally, what you should do is put the names as per Aadhaar card. That's important. And choose the date of birth as per Aadhaar card as well. Yeah,
now it's populated the information. I'm going forward. On the next page, I'll see the entire plan, what I can choose. I can select from a range of 10 lakhs to 75 lakhs of sum insured. I'm selecting 75 lakhs, and from two options of deductible, 5 lakhs and 10 lakhs. I'm selecting 10 lakhs. By any chance, if I want to have a look into a list of features the policy is providing me, that you can have a look here and the details of it. If I want to know what sum insured is, here's the toast message, and here's the toast message for deductibles. This area here is showing what I'm covering in my policy 1, whom I'm covering in my policy 1. Now for policy 1, we're also giving an option of GPA, like what I mentioned earlier. From here, you can select 1 crore per individual for self and spouse, and 10 lakhs per individual for each child. I can choose to remove it or choose to edit it, and the premium will change accordingly here. I'm choosing to add it. I'm going forward. And for premium policy 2, I'm gonna select a premium of 30 lakhs. And I can again have a look into the list of features here. And proceeding further. I'm landing on policy 3 now. There I can see my father's age is 69 years. I'm selecting a sum insured of 25 lakhs and deductible of 5 lakhs again. I can see the premium for policy 3. and I'm trying to go forward. Okay, I need to accept the terms and conditions, which are this. Once I click on and accept the terms and condition, only then it will allow me to go forward. But before going forward, I want to have a look into the respective premium. So this is a premium for policy 1, policy 2, policy 3, and the GPA that I've added for policy 1. And this is the IIMBAA fee, which is adding per policy. So policy 1 and GPA are adding in the one umbrella of policy 1. So I've taken 3 policies all over. That's why IIMBAA fee of 500 applies to 3 and the cumulative value is 1500. I have to pay an amount of 78,409, that is without GST. I'm moving ahead and clicking on check policy details. This page here gives the entire information about my policy. So I can have a look whom I'm covering, what sum insured I've selected, what deductible I've selected, what features I'm going for, and what is the super top up premium, GPA premium, and the GST as well. So this is this is with all 3 policies. For policy 1, this is the entire data. For policy 2, this is the entire data and the premium. For policy 3, this is the data. Now here, this is a cumulative value of policy 1, policy 2, and policy 3 with IIMBAA fee here and GST, and this is the amount payable to me. Now I can choose from 2 options here. We do not want to hustle the payment because we need to make sure that we are applying for the right policy and making the right inputs into the application. That's why we are giving an option of saving the draft. The moment I click on save draft button, I'll receive an email which looks maybe I've incorporated a different email ID.
Yeah, so ideally we'll get
Yeah.
a message on the inbox. Yeah, like this.
Yeah, we have received an email. So this is a draft email wherein you can see the entire information that you have populated. So unless and until you make a successful payment, you can change the policy n number of times as long as the enrollment period is open. So this is the entire gist of my application, my draft. It is again showing, if once I click on view policy details, I can see an exhaustive list also with a list of policy features. So you need not to go to your application every now and then, but you can refer to your drafts as well. Coming back to the platform, I am going forward, but it's not allowing me to go because I need to accept terms and conditions again. This is the terms and conditions. I have read and understood them. And now I can move forward. So this is the page that we need to be sure of, that once payment is done, I can make no longer changes and it can only be canceled. The policy can only be canceled and a fresh policy has to be done, has to be applied. I'm initiating the payment now. And this is the payable amount. Once you populate your information here and a successful payment is done, you will land again on the application with the entire summary of your page. Since this is a live platform, I'm not making the payment. And this is the quick flow of the application. Over to you, Badhan.
Thanks, Nusrat. That being there, we were talking about the presentation here. So ideally, if you can see my screen, we will quickly move on to where we are. So we tried and looked at other programs. We tried and looked at the retail products in the market, and based on that, ideally the key differentiators, we are able to cover a parent and in-laws. We are able to cover an age band up to 70. Medical checkup is not required. Room rent, any kind of room except suite. Some insured options are varied, some insured options, and the waiting period is only 12 months. Limitations, we didn't have any existing data of alumni. Selection policy, it is a selection policy, hence it cannot reduce the chances of adverse selection. Insurer loss ratios are high across health insurance segment. Lack of tech integration capabilities of many insurers and partners. So here I will take a pause and quickly look at the chat window. I could see a lot of questions coming in, and all of you can open the chat window just to, so that we go one by one. So can you give a list of PED? Yes, Ashok sir, we can give a list of PED. So we will share across a list of PED. We are making a note of it. We will share across. So ideally, if we look into the presentation.
Udayan, the first question is from Sharad at 6:57 p.m. If the deductible chosen is 5 lakhs and I take 3 policies, okay, could you please start from there?
Sir, I'm sorry, I'm not able to see that in my chat. Can you repeat the question, sir? I
Yeah,
can see it
okay.
from Deepu's message. Dear all, this is a recorded.
Yeah, okay. The one before that, it says if the deductible chosen is 5 lakhs and I take 3 policies, immediate family, parents, and in-laws, then will 5 lakhs be deducted for each of the 3 policies or just once, whichever gets triggered first?
So that's what I explained in the deductible slide, Sharad, that 5 lakh deductible will be there for your every policy. So if you take the alumni spouse kit policy, 5 lakh deductible, the parents 5 lakh, in-laws 5 lakh. And then if a claim comes and hits on the alumni spouse kit policy, your 5 lakh deductible for that policy should be there. If it comes and hits in parents, so it's a separate 5 lakh deductible. It's not a cumulative 15 lakhs, it's separate 5 lakhs deductible across the family definitions. So the family definition are alumni spouse kids as one family definition, up to 2 parents as the second family definition, and up to 2 in-laws is the third family definition.
It's not essentially a combined floater policy. There are 3 independent policies, so they have to be viewed like that.
Yeah. 3 independent policies, and you can choose 3 different combination of sum insured and deductibles in these 3 policies. So you can choose a sum insured of 75 lakhs and 5 lakh deductible for alumni spouse kids. For parents, you can choose, and in-laws and parents, you can choose maybe a lower sum insured, like a 50 lakh sum insured with a 10 lakh deductible or a 5 lakh deductible. So you can definitely choose. So absolutely correct, Rajveer sir. These are 3 separate policy combinations in one program. So that being there, now I will move on to the next question. Ashok sir says, can you give a list of PED? Yes, we can. Pawan Ramesh says both parents and in-laws can be added. Yes, Pawan, that is something that we were able to negotiate into. In other alumni programs, we have seen that only one set can be added. In this case, we have been able to convince the insurer and see that both parents and in-laws can be added. Rajveer sir has already said yes to.
Then sorry, just a follow-on to that PED question. Actually, I just added. Is it necessary to have a list of PEDs, or I mean, does that mean that only those PEDs will be confined in terms of claims?
So, Sekat, that's a good question, because even if I show a slide on PED, it will have some 15-20 kind of a list. So ideally, PED's definition can be triggered this way, that when the doctor in the hospital writes that any particular ailment is because of any pre-existing thing, that's what we classify as a PED. So other than that, so PED, any list is not an exhaustive list. What the doctor writes is very important. Based on that, the PED actually triggers. So that's how it is.
Right. No, I mean, see, I don't have a problem with the 1-year waiting period. There won't be any exclusions to later, right? That's all I'm just trying to understand.
No, there are no exclusions. So PED and specific diseases, both, there are no exclusions. So the waiting period is 12 years. So everybody gets access into the policy. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Sekat. So Rajveer sir says yes to Pawan's reply. Yeah, Nidhi says premiums are payable separately for ASK, P and PIL. Yeah, Nidhi, if you remember when Nusrat showed the demo, there are 3 separate policy combinations and 3 separate policy premiums, but you can pay them in one shot. When you go to the final payment gateway, you will see the total premium to be paid, and you can pay one premium. So if all your 3 combinations is like, say, coming to 45,000, for example, ASKP and PIL, so you pay 45,000. You don't have to pay 3 times separately. You have to pay only once. Ashok sir says, does base and top-up policy not from same company cause any complications in claim process? No, it does not, Ashok sir. And trust me that we have insurance experts here. I am an insurance expert. I have almost 25 years of experience in this domain. So the base and the top-up policy not necessarily be from the same organization. And one point that we have to understand is the base policy. Normally in the market, what we have seen is the top-up policies replicate the base policy. And that's where the confusion comes from. In our kind of an understanding where we have been able to design a product, our super top-up product is not dependent on any kind of a base policy. It has its own terms. So when it has its own terms, it will follow its own terms. It has its own deductible, sum insured, and all those things. So it will proceed accordingly. So base and top-up policy not from the same company does not cause any complications. Please take our word for that. One query is parents' age limit of 70. Is it 75? Can you make it 80? We understand this, Ashok sir, and we have got this feedback quite a few times, and we respect that. And one of my parents is above 70. So I was desperately trying to see how far we can negotiate with zero data. In this case, this year, it's 70. We are trying to negotiate and see next year where we can be. This is the feedback we have taken, noted, and it's there with us. Rajiv says, if I am self-insured, that is no base insurance, then how will claim processing work? Will it be cashless? So Rajiv, fantastic question. Yeah. So if you say choose a deductible of 5 lakhs, so up to 5 lakhs for a claim of say 8 lakhs, for example, 5 lakhs is to be paid by you. वो slip जैसे ही आप जमा करोगे, Digit will pick up the balance 3 lakhs, and as Digit will pick up the balance 3 lakhs, the rest 3 lakhs can be cashless. How will the insurers know that I have spent 5 lakh during the year? They will ask for the proof of receipt that you have paid. That is why I'm saying that this is irrespective. The proof of receipt can be from your pocket, can be from any other base insurance program. You just have to submit that proof, and then the rest can be cashless. Does it mean I should file my papers for 2 lakh even if I don't have a claim beyond the deductible? I should file my papers for 2 lakh even if I don't have a claim. I am not able to get this question, Rajiv. Maybe you can elaborate it. Yeah, Rajiv.
Ask the question now?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so typically in a hospitalization scenario, you have pre and post hospitalization expenses. In the beginning of the year, we don't know if we're going to hit the ceiling of 5 lakhs or not, right? So even if I'm getting into a hospitalization scenario with just 2 lakhs of expenses, then does it mean that at that very instance, I have to file to the insurance company that I have spent 2 lakhs and then wait during the rest of the year to figure out whether I'm actually going to spend above 5 L or not? Or is it something that I can do later? Because if I do this later, they should not say that, no, it is time barred and you should have filed this claim when you had incurred it. You cannot file it after 6 months.
So pre and post filing normally have a period of, I think, 2 months or a 3 months window in that case. So ideally, if you're filing it within that period, it should get picked up in case of a pre and post. Other than that, Rajiv, the best way to look at this scenario is that whatever amount you pay from your pocket or from your base insurance policy, the rest will get picked up. You only need to submit your proof.
No, Bodhan, can I come in?
Yeah.
Anshuman here.
Yeah.
Bodhan, the question is like this. Suppose the policy kicks off in March 31st, on March 31st. April, I have, some hospitalization of 2 lakh expenses. And then, I don't, and this is like covered by myself, so I don't file it anyway. Then suppose in September, I have something which goes up and then I cross the trigger of 5 lakh. Then can the insurance company say, "Arey, bhai, tumne April mein to bataya nahi humko, abhi achanak tum bol rahe ho."
Exactly.
Got it. Thanks, Anshuman, for clarifying that. And I've got the question, Rajesh. So ideally, at that time, we'll just have to go back to the insurance company. And when you file it, you'll have to say that, look, this is a claim that I paid from my pocket. This is the proof of receipt of 2 lakhs. Add this to this, so it crosses the deductible. So pay me minus the deductible. I hope that's the answer that you're looking for, Rajiv.
Yeah, that is the answer I'm looking for. But, my experience with
that's how it will work.
Companies has not been very good.
So Bodhan, can your Zopper app, kind of ask people to keep filing in, and so that is already clear to people that it's already filed? Can that be enabled on the Zopper app?
So Anshuman, that kind of a facility is not going to help. What is going to help, Rajiv, here is that there is a designated person from Zopper. So Rajiv, when you intend to file your claim with this kind of a combination, get in touch with our point of contact who will get in touch with you, and then we will help you sort this out with the insurance company. We'll make it much, much easier for you. You'll not have to do the runaround. We are there to take care of that. So I think that takes care of your last question, which is who will support processing of claims. So Zopper has a team who will take care. It's a dedicated channel that you will have. You can access that, and we are there from Zopper. So you will get that facility. Don't worry on that.
Right. So, since this is a top-up only product and it's not, so-called standard within the industry, I would request you to add this scenario and ensure that this thing is communicated in writing to us, that we don't need to keep filing and piling up our claims during the year, and we can do it at a later point in time, because the people processing at the insurance company's end may not be able to understand the nuances of our product. So it just helps protect our interest.
Got it, Rajiv. Got it. Noted on that. And that's why you should go through us, where Zopper is trying to help all the alums here. And ideally, even if you file a 2 lakh claim with Digit, with a 5 lakh deductible, Digit will simply ignore that and reject it. So ideally, you place all the documents with us, we will take it to Digit and we will get it processed. And we will give that explanation to you as well as required. Noted on that, Rajiv. Right, Rajiv, should I move on to the next question?
Yes, please. Thanks for that.
Thanks. Bringy says, is there a base health plan for seniors? So currently we have Super Top Up. That is what has got designed here. Super Top Up you can choose for seniors. Sharad says, if the deductible chosen is 5 lakhs and I take 3 policies, then will 5 lakh be deducted? So I think this was the question which Sharad has reposted. So Sharad, we answered this, that yes, 5 lakh deductible for every particular policy. And whichever claim comes in there, and that particular 5 lakh deductible cross karke, that particular policy gets triggered. So Ashok sir says, Digit is not a well-known company like New India or large private companies. Are they reliable? Will they pay up? Is there any escalation process? If there is dispute, will IIMBAA help out? Query in Mumbai Group. Okay, a good question. Great question, Ashok sir. So ideally, first point is that India is a very, very regulated environment in insurance. There is a watchdog called IRDA, which is Insurance Regulatory Development Authority. So any insurance company, which gets the license to operate, they will have to operate under very, very stringent rules and combinations. If you see, New India आज से 100 साल पहले आई थी, सरकारी कंपनी है, सरकारी कंपनी रहेगी. But Digit has come in 7 years back, completed a fantastic run accordingly. They have a 96% claim settlement ratio. So ideally, Ashok sir, nowadays, and where IIMBAA also looked at is the tech capability, enablement, ability to process faster reimbursement claims. So New India may, so I do this for my clients, New India, any PSU, not only New India, normally takes a bit of a time on the reimbursement side of it. So ideally 30 to 45 days lag jata hai. Digit may, it takes, so they are claiming it's on an average of 15 hours for a reimbursement claim. Agar 2 din bhi lagte hain, that is still phenomenal, I would say. So it's the speed which is fantastic with Digit and how they are processing. We have a lot of case histories with us where Digit has done well in terms of claim processing. I could see through the corner of my eye, I think Pawan wrote that he had got a good claim settled from Digit. He's happy with it. So ideally, there is no one good insurance company. What fits our requirement is what we have to look at here. And we had to look at a very difficult combination with zero data in terms of, no medicals, we want to take as much age bracket possible, a very high sum insured, we want to bring in parents, in-laws without any kind of medicals. Keeping that into consideration, they fared really well, they showed interest, and they are pretty strong in terms of their systems and processes. And the claim settlement ratio is upwards of 96% as per IIDA data. So please take that as a word that they are a good insurance company. It is a pretty well-known insurance company in terms of, people who are not into insurance maybe know the PSUs, but it's a good insurance company. Are they reliable? They are absolutely reliable. Will they pay up? 96 out of 100 cases, 96 times they have paid up, and that's a 96% claim settlement ratio. And ideally, what I have seen is in some of the cases, the claims do not get paid because of, the documentation not being proper. So on the reimbursement side, if that is the case, we can come back and help. So there's nothing to worry here. Zopper is there to handhold. And at the same point of time, Digit is a company who is fast in terms of processing claims. Will IIMBAA help out? So yes, IIMBAA will help out to Zopper. So that's the answer to all your questions out there. Saikat says, I'm getting 1903 as passing here in the page and cannot edit that. So Nusrat, can you make a note of that and see Saikat is not getting the correct passing year to choose.
Bodhayan, can you also share the email ID, support email ID at this point, please?
Yeah, sure, sir. So the support email ID.
Bodhayan, I had replied. I can come in here. There is a specific question about will IIMBAA help out? So Rajveer, with your permission, two things. One is that IIMBAA will definitely escalate to a very senior person at Digit to make sure that they take care of it. And we will also push Zopper, which has been leading it and doing a great job. But beyond that, IIMBAA really doesn't have the wherewithal to.
Not able to hear you.
Anshuman, I think we lost you in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rajveer said you may complete, or Deepu, you were saying something, you may complete.
Yeah,
let me.
Yes.
Go ahead,
Yes.
Deepu. That's fine.
Yeah, so what I was trying to say, I mean, I was trying to say about that joining your query. So I have already replied to that message on the group saying that he can mail it to support email ID, which is also given on the mail, imba.support@iimba.ac.in, and we'll get it corrected from the backend. And as for the IIMBAA, whether IIMBAA will help out, IIMBAA has appointed Zoper as the intermediary to help IIMBAA resolve any queries connected to the insurance program. So Zoper is the is the one that we can reach out to get any issue resolved from Digit or others. In case you reach out to IIMBAA, IIMBAA will also escalate it to Zoper so that they take the required action.
Yeah, thanks, Deepu. So quickly, Rajveer sir told me to look at the email ID. So this is the email ID on your right helpline, IIMB insurance plan @zopperinsurance.com. This is coming in terms of other documents as well. So you will get this email ID floated across. So do park your queries there. Anshuman, are you back? Would you want to complete what you were saying, or Rajveer sir, should I move on?
No, yeah, please move on. Please move on. Yeah, thanks.
Okay,
I think Deepu covered it. I just got lost.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Anshuman. So then quickly, I will move on to the next question. I can see lot has been replied by Deepu. Just give me a minute. Okay, so Deepu has replied to does wo base and top up wala policy. So hence the assume the confusion is
coming. Bodhayan, if I may request, can you please read the question anyway, and also Deepu's reply, so that in case anyone has a follow-on question, they can answer.
Got it, sir. So Rajiv ka question I've answered, Bringis I've answered, Sharad, yes, Shuk, yes. Saikat's question you've got. So Deepu is replying to does base and top up. So I'm not able to get this question here in my chat.
No, it says base and top up have to be from the same company. That's what the question which I asked.
Got it.
Already
so
answered.
This was the. Got it, sir. Got it, sir. So here, yeah, Deepu, sorry, you were saying something. Deepu?
No, so I was just about to clarify that this was Ashokji's question about the restrictions that come along with the base policy. And you can read out the answer in case you want.
Right. So I have also answered it, and Deepu, I'll read out yours as well. It says that here there is no need to have base and top up from the same company. Since this policy is an independent top up policy, there's no requirement of having the base from the same insurer. Assume the confusion is coming from the knowledge of how the alum policy of another institute is structured. In the policy of the other institute, the base policy was encouraged, and hence there were some limitations imposed in the top up, that a top up has to be only taken along with the base. Those are, if the base policy is from another insurer, then the restrictions or limitations of that policy will be applicable to the top up too. Second point, there will not be cashless processing, and reimbursements will have to be done in 30 to 45 days if the base insurer is different or the TPA is different. So that's the answer. So Ashok, sir again asks, why are you not offering base policy? Can you explain why only top-up policy? So ideally, that was the call that where I think IIMBAA understood, the board debated them between themselves and understood that a lot of us are covered up to a particular limit in our organizations or wherever we are or through our own things. And we did not want you to change your existing insurance program, just like the other alum policy there's a sort of a thing where you are asked to get into a base and then take the top up. In this case, we thought that why push the alum to that extent? We would create a second safety net. That was the idea. And I think even Rajvi sir, would you want to add on a few points here?
Yeah, so essentially when we started the program, we first looked at IIT Kanpur experience. And there we realized that the claims were so high that insurance company was very uncomfortable with that model. And then our broker told us, which is the same broker which IIT Kanpur had used, that insurance company has discontinued the product. Now, that's a very uncertain, that creates uncertainty for the alumni. Somebody has discontinued an earlier insurance, and then the new product is also discontinued. So we really didn't want to create that kind of uncertainty for alumni. So we thought, let's start with top-ups, which is less risky, and then go to the base in the next year, based on our experience of both the insurer as well as the kind of claims which are processed or asked for. So that was the intent. We just didn't want so much of uncertainty.
Thanks. Thanks, Rajvi sir. So now moving on to the next question, Pavin replies back that digit is not available. Okay, this is from Ashok sir's thing. And Pavin says, wouldn't IDA be responsible? Yes, Pavin, that's right. That's what I also talked about, that this is a highly regulated industry and IDA will take everybody into task, including digit. So everybody wants to have a high claim settlement ratio that helps them. So that is not an issue. That's what we talked about. Bringi says +1 to Ashok's query. We have replied that. Deepu says, replying to premiums are payable. Yes, premiums are computed separately, but is collected together. That's what we talked about. Dr. Rakesh Goel says, there are many alumni who are over 70 years of age. As of today, I am one of them. They are at disadvantage. Why are they left out? So, doctor, there's nothing like this that, somebody is left out and somebody is not. We tried our best to get as many people on board this year based on zero data that we had. And, a strong alum participation might as well help us push this age to 75, 80, depending on what we can do. The idea was to ensure that we get as many people on board. So please don't feel left out. We will try and see what we can do coming year and get as many people, including you, on board. And I completely understand your point here. So Ashok sir says, can you put in writing all response to queries raised in Zoom calls for the record? Only oral answers are not acceptable. Yes, absolutely. All these can be put in writing and this can be shared across. Pavan Ramesh says, I have an experience with Digit for a separate claim I had done. Very reliable it is. Yeah, Pavan, I also feel so. So I have a lot of clients where I do a lot of business with Digit as an insurer. I have seen them pretty reliable as well. Thanks for that. Deepu replies to one query on penance that the current entry age limit is 70. While the team is trying to get this upgraded, number of subscriptions will decide whether we are able to push this and other concessions through for this year and subsequent years. So this is the point, Dr. Rakesh, that I also talked about here, that this is something that we are trying to do the best, and the number of subscriptions, alum participations, alum subscriptions is extremely important for this program to be successful. And if you do a proper comparison between what is available on the other alumni associations, you will see that primarily they have a very low sum insured band, 15 lakhs, 25 lakhs. Here you can bring your parents in-laws up to 70, 75 lakhs of bracket, as long as we are there, we want it. There's a personal accident coverage as well of 1 crore. And on that personal accident coverage, even child's education gets picked up. If an alum passes away, there's a facility where child's education up to 50,000 can get picked up there. So these policies are very strongly designed in a way that it helps an alum or an alum's family in case of any kind of adverse scenario or situation. So that's the logic behind it. So Bringi asks, can we get a transcript of the chat with the questions and answers? Yeah, absolutely, Bringi, we can. Ashok sir says, just suggest we have a primer on IIMBAA app, as many alumni have not enrolled in the IIMBAA app. So Deepu, you would want to answer that?
Yeah, I was anyway replying to that. So all alums can download it from the IIMBAA app from Play Store or App Store, and they can use their earlier registered email ID on these portals to log in. In case they face any difficulty, they can mail the support email ID that Bodhayan had mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and recently in the ambassadors group, I have shared across today evening one single document which has all the links of all the documents, including the link of IIMBAA app. So there also, and even the next orientation sessions, whenever we are having them on 4th, 11th, and the other date, you click on that link, it directly takes you to the Zoom. So we have one single document on which we have the IIMBAA app link as well, and the other documents as well for this insurance program. So Rajiv asks that I understand that 70 is only the entry criteria and the policy will continue beyond 70 years of age too for the life of this product. Yes, Rajiv, that is a confirmation. As long as we keep renewing, you keep renewing, it will continue. Secondly, the premium table doesn't go beyond 70 years age bracket, because this year it will not go beyond. Next year you will see that it will go beyond and then another age bracket would come in. Can you give an idea of what the premium will be for 70, 75 years and 75, 80 years? And since I have people at 68 years and need this data point for decision making. So Rajiv, ideally this data point is dependent on how many alums come in, what is the premium collected, what is the group claims, and based on which the insurance company will come back and give us a pricing next year. We would not be able to comment anything on this, but primarily it will be slightly higher. So we are 10% or 15% higher than your bracket, because please understand 66 to 70 is one bracket, then 71 to 75 is the another insurance bracket. The moment we move from one insurance bracket to another insurance bracket, there's a chance of around 15 to 20% of increase depending on how it caters. This is just a ballpark figure. We will not be able to confirm anything because it's also dependent partly on the group policy behavior. That's why we are saying let's get more alums on board so that we are able to get minimum premium increase the next year based on our strength. Manish says...
Right, Bodhayan,
yeah,
can
Rajiv.
I just react to that? Yeah, so
yeah,
I
Rajiv.
understand that, but since the premiums have anyway been computed without any data pertaining to our alumni specifically, I think there would at least be a standard extrapolation that can be done. The reason why I'm asking this is because I noticed, and for obvious reasons, that the premium rises up very steeply when you are in that age bracket. So I am just apprehensive that the premium will rise even more steeply when we get into the 70s and nearing the 80s. So I just want to understand that. And I'm sure, you know, a ballpark percentage that you mentioned, whether it's 10, 15, 20 or whatever it is, can be given without any commitment. Obviously, that is something that everyone understands, that there's no commitment. But if there is some ballpark that you can give, I think that will be useful. And second, you know, point which I had, which is more of a comment or a suggestion, is that since a lot of people have been asking this for themselves or for their family members about people beyond the 70 age group bracket, even if you are not able to do it as part of the first round of negotiations, what I would suggest, if it's not very administratively inconvenient, is to at least gather that data so that if it is only a very small handful of people, then we can go and talk to Digit and tell them that, look, it's just a bunch of people, include it in this time or include it after, you know, 1 month for the remaining 11 months or something like that. I think that will go a long way to help the interest of the alumni group and their families.
So absolutely, Rajiv, point duly noted on that. And do trust us that we have been, despite finalization of the product, both the IIMBAA board and we as Zopper, we have been going back to Digit and trying to negotiate on certain pointers, each being one of them. They have their product limitations. So we are continuing the discussion, but in the current stage, Rajiv, this is what we have. And we completely buy your point. One of my parent, I said, is about 70. I'm not able to cover them. That's a big worry for me. One I'm able to cover, who is 69. Next year move kar jayenge, to unko nahi kar paunga. So I understand your problem and most of our problems basically, and absolutely point noted on that. This is what we have. that up to 70 is what we have. We are trying our best, and if it doesn't happen this year, despite however we try, next year we will try and see what we can do on this. Now, coming back to your ballpark figure, so my experience, says that 71 to 75 ideally will be very, very expensive if you want to go ahead and get hold of an insurance program. And when I talk about that, it will be subject to medicals, difficult hai. So in the current age bracket mein jo premium dikh raha hai, uska aap 20-25% upwards pakad ke chaliye. If the policy performs well, it can come down to between 15 to 20% is what my idea is. But to be on the safer side, of 20-25% increment pakad ke chaliye, because the age band is changing. So from 71 to 75 is the next age bracket, jahan pe there would be a loading. So that's how on the ballpark side, Rajiv. Was I able to answer your question, Rajiv?
Yes. I think my query you've answered, and my suggestion is, of course, for you guys to take or not to take.
Noted.
So
Absolutely
thank
noted.
you.
Noted, Rajiv. And ye mera bhi suggestion hai. There are a lot of people who are having this suggestion. Trust us, we did fight a lot. What we have got is the best. But point absolutely noted. Point absolutely noted, goes without saying. So Manish, thanks, Rajiv. So now I'll move on to Manish's question. Manish says, is this a one-time enrollment window? One time for this year or one time ever? No, Manish, this is a one-time enrollment window for this policy year. So इस policy year के में आपको आना है तो you will enroll within the enrollment period. Next year again another enrollment window will open up.
So a related question, Bodhayan, on this one. With the window being not very long, I think it is 13th March is the cutoff. And several of the product features that you mentioned being subject to the quantum of enrollments, I was just trying to figure out.
Manish, let me say one thing here. Sorry, before you ask the rest of your question. So all the product features that we have talked about are there in the product.
No. What I meant was certain requests that came along the way as you went through the chat window, that beyond 70, the coverage beyond 70, and so on. So at some places, I heard you say that things will depend upon how the enrollment happens. So my question
that is for the next year, Manish. That is for the next year underwriting, not for this year.
Okay, not for this year.
Not for this.
So just trying to understand, if this policy is from the IIMBAA Alumni Association. If this is in terms of features very good, why is this not opened out to larger set of IIM alumni or IIT alumni or whatever, so that the enrollments can be bigger, be in higher numbers, and we get better negotiation capacity with Digit on some of these things where people are asking about 70 plus coverage and a few other related points.
Can I come in here?
Sure.
So see, IIMBAA is a registered trust, and we are here to take care of our alumni. And suppose this becomes a university, multi-institute project, then the handling of money is one issue that IIMBAA will not be able to handle, because we can only handle our own money. One. Two, as it is, most of these insurance companies are having a problem defining how we are structured, because this is not an employer-employee relationship. So they are already having an issue trying to define, how an IIMBAA alumni is, and they're taking our word for whom we define as an alumni. So this is something that will not work when we try to broad base it as of now. Tomorrow we don't know, but as of now this is not going to work.
Okay.
And another thing, Manish, is that this is a policy which needs to be, this is a master policy and a group retail policy. The master policy has to belong to somebody. So it cannot belong to multiple institutes. It has to belong to one trust, which Anshuman says that in this case, IIMBAA is that trust.
Okay.
And there has to be an insurer relationship. So insurable interest comes in. So IIMBAA can insure its alums. So all the other colleges coming into the picture, the insurable interest will go for a toss. So that's how it is, Manish.
So, okay. So fine, understand that point. Just that, I mean, I don't know how long this has been, available as an initiative, which is fructified into a policy product that is being talked about. But I mean, I'm just wondering whether the enrollment window is long enough for people to actually get the message and enroll themselves. I know that this session and similar sessions have been held earlier, so people have probably been able to attend and clarify their questions, etc., to see if this is a workable product for them and choose and pay up for it. But probably the enrollment window, if it is longer, would help get more people into the fold of this product.
So, Manish, out here, what we have seen is that the enrollment window being longer actually does not help. That's my experience. And ideally, we have done this policy for IIM Kozhikode Alumni Association also. There also, we opened it for 15 days. So what happens is whenever we do an enrollment session, there's a spike of people getting into the app and trying to buy something. Then again, there's a decline. Then again, a spike. So most of the people buy a day before or on the day of the enrollment window closure. That's how it is. That's how we have seen the policies done. So hence what we are doing is, since we are doing multiple sessions now, we will be doing 3 more sessions down the line. And evidently all these questions will come up, we will present, we will answer. So I feel that, Manish, trust us, this is a good window to get into. 15-20 days is a good window to get into. It is just about making the conscious call that whether this is the right product for you to get into.
Yeah, another reason, Budhan, if I can come in,
sir.
is that we wanted to also, there is a income tax benefit available. We wanted to close the window within month of March and issue the policy so that people can avail the income tax benefit if they want to use this.
Right.
Okay.
Is it okay, Manish? Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I was just wondering whether it's basically floating through the WhatsApp groups, the dissemination of this policy being available, and some people are latching on to the Zoom calls and maybe some others aren't. The attendance on this call also is not very large. Maybe the other groups have been large. So I was just thinking, has there been enough information that has gone around for people to make a conscious call and join the insurance program? That's all what I was interested in.
Fantastic point, Manish. So ideally, there are mails which are going on from IIMBAA President's ID as well to all the registered email IDs. So we are trying to create visibilities, and then even if these 30 people who are out here, reach out to 30 more, that's how we are gonna multiply. So it's a request to everybody here. That's a fantastic point raised by Manish. How do we reach out in this span of time is that's where our success lies. Point noted, Manish, on that. And we are trying our best to see.
It's a good point, actually.
Yes.
Thanks, Manish.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thanks, Manish. So now quickly moving on to the rest of the questions. Deepu has replied back to Ashok sir's question, why are you not offering base policy? He says, normally many alums have base policies. Hence the focus was on top-up policy. So one with the base policy had conditions on the percentage of base policies that should be subscribed. Since many have base policies and the need was to cover high medical expenses incurred, the focus shifted to top-up without any restriction linked base policy. That's also something that we talked about. Rajiv says, who will be responsible for annual renewal and renegotiation of the policies each year and protect our interests? What is the flexibility we will have to change the insurance company and or the intermediary? Rajiv, IIMBAA is the master policy holder. So IIMBAA would come up with an annual renewal and renegotiation of the policy next year again. And they would again re-choose preferably the insurance company and the same broker, or they can go ahead and choose a different insurer and a different intermediary as well. That's how the entire market works. So Pawan says premium.
So Bodhai, question directed more to Rajbir actually than to you, because obviously, I think he will be best placed to answer this. So, Rajbir, where I'm coming from is that typically in an organization, there are people who are responsible for renewal of the group insurance policy. I've myself, as CEO of my previous organization, been an active participant in this renewal and hard-nosed negotiation for an extended period of time. It has taken up a lot of my time. So I know that this is not going to be easy. There is going to be to and fro. So is IIMBAA, in the current form and avatar, going to continue this, and the project team that is constituted right now with your leadership, is that going to move away, or will you guys continue, or will some other expert people or alumni come in to do this? Has there been some thought around this?
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually, Rajiv. And one of the reasons why we decided not to go with the base policy was because of the high risk associated and the unstable nature of our roles, actually. But so it's a great point. But if you really look at the team which has worked together, so while my name is appears as somebody who kind of, I'm probably the last person holding the baton, but it was started by Anshuman. Then Harish obviously was contributing as a leader, giving direction, pushing people, will bring the team together. And then Deepu is very active. We have two insurance experts, Shashank and Mervan, in the team. Then a couple of more people joined later on. Lokesh and Rajesh will join. So the team has been growing ever since. So we have a dedicated group only for this purpose. So we don't have to dissolve that group even if we move out of our roles. So I think that's the commitment that we need to demonstrate. So we will do that, Rajiv. Thank you for bringing it up. We will demonstrate. We'll stick to our roles, actually, if that's the question.
So that will be extremely comforting, because one of the the inherent instability of the structure is obviously a cause of worry. Personally, I'm very comforted by the fact that I know you personally. I know Shashank from my batch. I know Lokesh from my junior batch. So 3 out of the 6-7 people that are working, I can just pick up the phone anytime and speak to you guys. But if that continues, if I have some assurance that the structure is going to be quasi-permanent, at least for the first few years, then it will be very, very comforting. And I think it can really help swing the needle and get more people to subscribe for this policy.
Thanks, Rajiv. Very, very good point. Actually, we'll do that. Well, I think all of us will personally commit to continuing and supporting it. We'll do that.
Great, yeah. Absolutely.
Thanks, Rajiv.
Thanks, Rajiv. Anshuman has raised a hand. Anshuman, you want to say something?
Yeah. I would, like to just further add to what Rajveer has been saying on this. And Rajiv, so the association is you and me and all of us together, right? So anyone who wants to kind of contribute from his experience and otherwise a commitment to the association would be most welcome to come and contribute. So in fact, we would be very happy for you to come and also, contribute with your experience. So that's something like it further, strengthens our whole cause and our participation.
Yeah, sure. Of course. I mean, I don't need to have my name there. I can speak to Rajveer and Shashank and Lokesh anytime. Yeah. Thanks, Anshuman.
Thanks, Rajiv. So we'll move on to the next question. Pawan asks, premium, is it an annual premium payment? Yes, it is an annual premium payment. Sharad asks, a lot of people are not yet on the IIMBAA app. Can they purchase the insurance policy only and only through IIMBAA app? Yes, Sharad. That's the idea, that you have to download the IIMBAA app and you can purchase it only through the IIMBAA app. If there is a problem anyone is facing through the IIMBAA app, Deepu is there, and we have a team who can help on downloading the app and taking it forward. Karthik says, can we take only parent policy without alumni spouse kit policy? So Karthik, this is where we have tried to bring in a bit of a stability. So ideally, parental policies normally have higher claims. Hence, what we have tried to do is that the alumni should at least take a policy for himself or herself and then move on for the parental policy. You can choose a lower sum insured for and a higher sum insured for your parent. But yes, you will have to take your policy to take your parents' policy. Saikat says, replying to, can you give the list of, yes, is this going to be, so Saikat, we have talked about that, defined PED and the list of that. Sharad says, is there an FAQ document or FAQ audio file? Can that be included in the one pager? Is there a lot of questions? Yes, Sharad, there is an FAQ document, and currently today also we had a call. So along with Deepu and one of the ex-alums of IIMBAA, Along with the one of the alums of IIMB, we are trying to get an AI-based chatbot initiated in some time, which will answer, and also there will be an FAQ document as well. SK says, will the premium increase each year? What would be the quantum of increase? So SK, yes, the premium would increase each year, but what is the quantum would be a difficult one to answer, because ideally that depends on the group performance as well. So that's what I think Rajiv was trying to understand. Kis bracket mein jayega 71 to 75 ka. So yeah, jayega upar, because as our age brackets also go up. So if I move from say 36 to 40 ka bracket, say 41 to 45 ka bracket mein, there would be an increase in premium accordingly, and accordingly. So yeah, what would be the quantum would be difficult to state now. Sharad says, are there any fixed amounts for certain treatments as well as angioplasty? Yeah, there are no sublimits here, Sharad. So whatever the sum insured, usko deductible cross karke, we can go ahead and do it. Manish has given a thumbs up. Deepu says, replying to a lot of people are IIMBAA app. It's only through the IIMBAA app. They can download and get their details correct and then purchase the policy. Rajiv says, take our word for it. Please put this in writing. Yes, Rajiv. Deepu says, replying to, is there a base? Currently, this is a top-up policy. That this does not include the base policy. Saikat, okay, Saikat, to update your IIMB credentials, you can put a mail to imba.support@iimb.ac.in separately, which was said. So Praveen says, does this cover critical illnesses like cancer? Yes, with a waiting period of 1 year. Nidhi says, where can we find the price list by age and top-up amount? So Nidhi, there is a brochure which has got shared, and there is one page of document which now we are sharing from today evening. You click on that and find a brochure. It goes to a repository. From there, you will have the presentations, the brochures, and everything. And if you don't find it, do ping us. We will come back to you. Write to the email ID if you want to. We will come back and help you. If you don't have the brochure, do let us know. Saikat, yeah, says thanks. Deepu says that so in reply to Sharad's thing which was going on in Mumbai group, Ashok sir's thing which was going on in Mumbai group, Deepu says that Digit is not a well known insurer. Deepu says, in fact, we first tried PSUs. Unless the base policy is taken, there are severe limitations in the policies offered. Restrictions of the base apply to the top up, and reimbursements have to be done. Yes. And cashless is not possible. The insurer, if the insurer and TPA is different from the top up availed. Digit is new but has been growing fast and backed by Fairfax and other marquee investors. It's emerging as a leading insurance provider in a very short span. While we can question the number of years and credentials, when New India and United refused to come on board with favorable terms, didn't see a reason to discount Digit on number of years, rather felt it was only logical to take them on board. In retail, they have done close to 1.5 lakh policies. In group, they have written 4,500 plus groups with 18.5 lakh lives. Overall claim ratio stands at 96% with 15 hours of average reimbursement time. So that's it. Urvesh says, can base plan be from company in which one is employed? Absolutely, Urvesh. Or there is a need to purchase a separate medical insurance base from any insurer? No, Urvesh, you cannot have a base policy as well. Still opt for a top up with a 5 lakh or a 10 lakh deductible. That's completely your call. This super top up is not dependent on you having a base policy. Bringy says, Digit does have a base policy for seniors, but I'm not able to access it on the Digit website. Please help. Bringy, Digit would have a base policy. Every other insurer would have a base policy, but that would be a retail policy. It would come with its own PEDs and all. Ram Kalyan says, is there any minimum requirement on sum insured for base policy? That depends, Ram, on your choice. So the minimum sum insured is 10 lakhs that you can choose, and you can go up to 75 lakhs. It's completely up to you how you want to choose. So Lokesh has sent in the IIMBAA app download links here. Deepu says, replying to suggest we have alums can download the IIMBAA app from the App Store and Play Store. In case of any trouble, go to imba.support. The base plan from the company will do that. We have answered. Replying to, does this cover critical illnesses? It does cover PD exclusion period of 1 year. Replying to, where can we find the, it's part of the presentation shared, the brochure. It's part of the presentation shared. Meanwhile, you can try out the variations in IIMBAA app. Absolutely. Bringy says, could those not speaking, please, sorry. I hope you don't want me to mute it. SK says, will no claims on a policy have a positive bearing on underwriting at higher ages? Will no claims on a policy have a positive bearing on underwriting at higher ages? Individually, group may somebody would come back and claim. So ideally, this policy would be dependent on the group performance. So even if you don't claim, there will be an impact on the group claiming on that, on the group's impact. But this is a group policy, group retail format. There is no minimum requirement for the base policy, correct? Pawan Ramesh says, can you please help to share the recording of this? Yes, Pawan, we would do that. Praval Priyaranjan says, in case of renegotiation, how will the PD of 1 year work? So in that case, it will become 0-day PD for those who enroll in this year. If the insurer is changed, the 1 year clause will kick in again? No. So if you even if the insurer is changed, they will be made to quote in a way where they will quote for 0-day PED for the ones who are already in the policy, and they will quote for 1 year PED for the ones who are coming in fresh. So that's how the policy would work. Urvesh says, replying to, does this cover critical illness? Very difficult to fill the date fields. There is no navigation through year. No, there is navigation, Urvesh. You can click on the year button. It will open up the year one. If you face difficulties, do let us know. We will try and see how it can be sorted, because I have done it in my app. I'm able to click on the year button and then take it from there. Ayush is covered. So Ayush ka treatment mein, Vinay, what would be the bill amount, I would ask? So if it is upwards of 5 lakhs, very rarely it goes upwards of 5 lakhs. But if it goes upwards of 5 lakhs, it would come into this policy. But normally Ayush treatments get done between 50 to 75K. So that would either ways fall under the deductible. Rajiv says, insurers offer medical insurance up to 1 crore. Why is the limit 75 lakh only? 75 lakh for this year, Rajiv. Next year, definitely we would look into another sum insured band of 1 crore. How portable do you think is this top-up policy for our group as a whole? So, Rajiv, portable, my understanding is that you take this top-up and then you want to port it to some other insurer. This will not be portable because this is a customized top-up policy. At the max, what can happen is you can port it to a retail policy of theirs. So that is how it is.
No, Bodhayan, his question may also be connected to how, as a group, we'll be able to change the insurer.
Precisely, Deepu. That is my question.
Got it. So absolutely, Rajiv, we can change it as a group depending on which insurer comes back. So currently this year, Digit has come back to us with the best of the rates in comparison to the coverages that they have given in comparison to the other insurers. And this year, if Digit does well, and next year we would still, IIMBAA would still conduct a process, evaluation process on that. Digit has to fare again. And if it is found that there's any other insurer who is ready to pick it up at the terms and conditions accordingly and is coming at a cheaper price, definitely it would go to them. So completely portable. But having said that, yeah, Rajiv, but having said that, what we are looking at here is sort of a longer association with an existing insurer until and unless there is a need, but portability, 100% openness is there. So I am Kozhikode Alumni Association, we are managing that. So this year we are mulling on changing the insurer. We are also looking at the expiring insurer. So both ways, whichever works, because this, this is your money. We are only, managing it. So we will try and see what best combination works for the Alumni Association and the alums. And then that's how the movement happens.
Right. Yeah. Which is precisely why I asked the previous question about the structure of IIMBAA and, how we are going to support the annual renewal and negotiation process. So yeah, this answers my question. Another, related thing which I've not written down in the question panel, but which has come up in my discussions with a lot of people, from the market, they, instead of fear in your mind, I don't know whether it's bona fide or, it's just a self-serving argument that once you reduce your insurance cover or you keep it peg it at a certain level, at a later age, you cannot increase it. So is that true? And particularly, is that going to be true or applicable for our top-up insurance policy?
So ideally, Rajiv, to answer your question, there are two facets to it. One facet is if I go as a layman and, not from my corporate or not from an alumni association like IIMBAA, if I go like a layman and try and buy an insurance program or on an insurance policy, beyond 45 years, I'll have to get into medicals, hire some insured, I'll have to get into medicals. and ideally kuch na kuch nikal ke aayega medical mein, and either they will tell me to pay a huge amount of premium or they'll reject me. So what happens is, yes, as a layman, as an individual, if I go into the market and try and look at that, it becomes very, very difficult for us to increase our insurance coverages. Uh, and ideally, the concept of insurance says that, if you, with age, let us get into a bracket which we are comfortable with on the insurance sum insured. This applies for health also, this applies for life insurance also. So लाइफ इंश्योरेंस में भी आपने देखा होगा कि अगर आप अभी आप 10 करोड़ के लिए अप्लाई करोगे, एक तो 10x CTC का रूल आता है which needs to be filled up, and then 10 करोड़ के लिए they will ask a lot of questions and all, and they will try and see. I cannot today go and ask for a 10 crore life insurance policy. Parallelly, I can go and ask for a 1 crore health insurance policy. वो करेगा, मेरा एज ब्रैकेट देख के मेरे को मेडिकल्स करवाएगा. So yes, to answer the first part of your question, yes, it is difficult. Given a chance with policies like IIMBAA, the second facet which comes in, there, with zero medicals, if I have a chance to get into higher sum insured brackets, I should straight away get in, because next year PED is a 0-day PED and then I am rolling. So that's the idea. Given a chance in these kind of proposals, you should look at a higher sum insured, jo market mein nahi milega. Ideally, if you're fit, healthy, you might get it. Next year, you might have a problem continuing with it in these kind of proposals. Given a chance, in any proposal, given a chance, you get a chance to have or carry on with a higher sum insured, you should definitely grab that. That's the 2 cents from our side.
So I understood the first part very well, and that's my understanding of the insurance market as well. For the second part, as relates to this top-up policy, then structurally, if they are just relying on us as a group and we have the benefit of the group dynamics and everything else, then I believe for us to increase it next year also, if we are not going for, if I, for example, go for 50L this year, I don't make any claim, I think I should be able to bump it up to 75 next year, right?
You can do it. You can do it.
Right?
You can do it, Rajiv. You can do it.
Unlike in the retail scenario, there won't be such limitations over here.
Yes, right? You can do it, Rajiv. Yeah, absolutely. What I'm saying is that, if I look at a 10 lakh sum insured and I feel that I am comfortable, you give a correct example. 50 lakh is pretty good. So 50 lakh sum insured, say next year, if you feel I want to bump it to 75, absolutely you can do it. Perfect.
Okay. Right. And yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have been polite to ask this over a question in the chat panel, but Rajbir in the previous conversation and the previous meet also spoke about the costs, that, this is not the most cost optimal, right? And post that, I just did some, random calls with the Policy Bazaar guys and stuff. And a quote that I received for a 70 lakh top up for my age bracket was around 9,000, for which the comparable figure here is around 19,000. So why is there so much of a difference? I understand that there is, some flexibility. There are definitely some advantages which I love, and I would not want a policy which saves me a few thousand rupees but doesn't, save me the lakhs of rupees when I need it. But why is the difference so stark?
So ideally, the pricing or the underwriting pricing depends on what kind of a policy coverage is there. So quickly, what I'm trying to do, flipping on the screens, is trying to get back to what are the unique features. So when you go and buy any kind of a super topper program, normally they will have a PED waiting period. In this case, the PED waiting period is only 1 year. They will ask for medicals depending on the age. In this case, there are no medicals. The room rent definition is any kind of room other than suite. There is no copay even for your parents and in-laws. If you want to buy a policy, when you want to put in your parents and in-laws, you will find very few insurance companies coming up and, asking for it. So ideally, these are certain reasons why the cost is slightly higher. And if I take you to the comparison screen here, where you can see, we have already done this against the retail products in the market. Now look at how they are pegged. They normally stop at a 65 on the age bracket. The parents and in-laws, most of them don't cover. Medical checkup, all of them have a yes requirement. In this case, there's no requirement. Room rents, normally they work on a 1%, 2%. So ideally when, and more of them, PED waiting period, they have a 36-month or a 48 months, 3 months, 3 years or a 4 years waiting period. So when you bring in all these additional features here, this is where slightly the underwriter or the insurer will look at getting the cost built to an extent where they can also look at least surviving. Now, having said that, there have been negotiations on the cost level as well, and this is where the final costing lands. Plus, what needs to be understood, Rajiv, is that this is a selection policy. So when I say this is a selection policy, there is no guarantee that all the alums are going to come in. There's no guarantee even 50% of the alums are going to come in, but the policy still has to continue. So if it becomes a selection policy, so Rajiv, you said that you managed a lot of insurance programs when in your past exercise as a CEO with your organization. So there you would have seen that you wanted to bring in 100% of your employees. Employer-employee scheme is always 100% employees getting covered. But in case of these kind of schemes, which are non-employer-employee, the biggest challenge for the underwriter is that it is a selection-based policy. The moment it becomes a selection-based policy, half of the insurers go out. The remaining half who remain, they say, "मैं 4 साल का PED करूंगा, मैं ये करूंगा, मैं वो करूंगा," and then finally, when you negotiate this, there has to be some level of cost impact which comes in and gets built into the policy, and this is what you see.
I totally agree with that. I mean, selection policy part, I understand, because we tried very hard to have an elective option for people to cover their parents, because we didn't want to cover parents for everybody, all the employees. But even I couldn't make it happen. So hats off to you guys for making this happen for our alumni, including for in-laws and for parents and for everybody. I am personally enthused and sold about the whole concept, and I have a lot of comfort given that, this is happening under the IIMBAA umbrella, and a lot of people are known to me. But in the groups, Rajbir is also privy to those groups. In fact, he's fielding those queries. A lot of people are asking these price and cost related queries, and the pricing of insurance policies is a transparent thing, but the terms and conditions are not. So the riders you don't get to know until and unless you face an unfortunate case of hospitalization, and that is when you realize that you should not have ended up trying to save those couple of thousand rupees or few thousand rupees on insurance premiums. But at the end of the day, it is in our collective interest to maximize the number of enrollments, because that is how we will probably get a lower claim ratio.
Absolutely.
Because let's face it, everybody in my age bracket in 50s and 60s will want to go for it, and we'll end up, they'll end up bumping up the claim ratio. What we really want is, the junior age bracket to enroll en masse, so that we can, take advantage, statistically speaking. Right. So
absolutely,
at that age bracket, at their level of earning, at their level of career progression, a few hundred rupees or a few thousand rupees may be swaying the needle in terms of their decision making. Right. It probably won't impact my decision making, but that's not helping our overall cause. Right. I hope you're able to see my point. And the way in which we can kind of counter this is to proactively preempt this question of price differential and premium, and maybe whatever you just mentioned, if we can do some creative communication around it, to tell people that yes, this is something that is good in our interest and is value for money, and it gives you peace of mind or whatever, then I think it will just go a long way. That's of course for you guys to decide, whether you want to do something proactive or not, because for all it may just set people off who are already kind of decided, and you don't want that to happen as well. Right. So too much of proactivity is also sometimes not good. But I don't know. I don't have that overall sense of, what the thousands of alumni are speaking. And yeah, I do share the concern, which I think Manish or somebody was also saying earlier, that, the attendance on this call, for example, is a matter of concern, that we don't have enough people who are, interested potentially.
Fair point, Rajiv. In fact, it's a good point. The prices, obviously, people are sensitive to price, and what we would rather be proactive, but at the same time, we were trying to create something which applies to a core segment of people who want to cover both parents, because specifically the people are concerned about parents. Now there are freelancers, there are people who moved out of jobs, who are trying to do entrepreneurship, people are traveling, they're outside India and so on. So there is a segment which is really vulnerable actually. There are people who are in corporate jobs, they really don't need this. It's people, it's the other segment who doesn't have access to coverage. Those are the people we're trying to cover. Price is important, but at the same time, coverage is more important. So let's say you have somebody who's a certain age, they go through a medical and the person doesn't get the right kind of policy. Now, we are therefore trying to cater to a segment where people are given coverage without medical. So at least people are not excluded. They are included in the community of people who are financially secure. So we largely see this as a financial security product more than a health insurance product. We want to make sure that people are not deprived because of the, in case of any extreme or an unlikely event where they have to spend a lot of money. So they're financially secure.
Right. No, in fact, even for people who are in corporate jobs or employment, these days you never know how long that job will last for. Plus, the corporate, employment insurance policies are mostly a tick in the box. So they are most cases not sufficient to cover the eventuality or the risk of, today's diseases, right? One simple hospitalization sets you back by 10 lakhs. If you, God forbid, if you have cancer or something, the cost runs up to 1 crore or plus, northwards of 1 crore. So that is the reality. I've had, multiple such eventualities in the broader family, and I've seen it's not just about the money, the kind of toll it takes on you. These are things which people do not realize. So, I think, of course, it is nobody's job, but it only helps if the communication is made to this broader segment of people also, not just, of course, for people who are freelancers or entrepreneurs, but also to corporate employees, that they need something which can stick with them as an insurance policy throughout their life, irrespective of their corporate trajectory.
Absolutely, Rajiv. I think from a communication standpoint, one mail has gone out from the IIMBAA side, and further more mails and communication will go out in the run up to the final date of enrollment. So hopefully more people will take note of it and register. And your point is also right, that we need a lot of younger alums to come on board to ensure that statistics work in our favor. And your point about pricing is also noted. But I don't know whether we will be able to change the pricing as of now for this policy. At least for the subsequent year, we can try to do that based on the numbers that we get and the claims ratios that the policy has.
Right. Yeah. So, we've done all the hard work in terms of the product management side of, putting the product in place. It's a good product.
Correct.
Now, I think we just need to put the marketing hat on and, we just need to market this policy.
Focus on the communication part of it. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Those are my 2 cents.
Yeah. So hopefully, a couple of things that we are planning to do. One is, like I said, other than the WhatsApp communication channels, which are the groups that are formed under various IIMBAA batches and programs and interest groups, mailers will start rolling out from the IIMBAA secretariat. Also, by Friday or by next Monday, we are planning to set out a WhatsApp chatbot where people can directly ask questions and get answers, right? Rather than redoing these Zoom sessions. So hopefully once that comes up live, people can proactively ask questions at whatever time they feel, and the bot will answer those. So these are 3 things that we are trying to do. And more your point about marketing is again well taken. Budhayan, I think we should also try to bring out EDMs the way we used to do for various events to ensure that people people know about the program as such.
Noted, Dipu. Noted on that. And noted, Rajiv. That's a fantastic point that you've said. Point duly noted.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, Rajbir. Thanks, Budhayan. Thanks, Deep.
Thank you.
Any more questions, Budhayan?
I think, yeah, we're done with the questions. Right. I think then we can call it off.
Any more questions from, there are still people out there. If they have any questions, we should be happy to answer them. So Prateek, Vinay, Kannan, SK, is SK's phone or SK, Azim, Pavin, Rama, any questions, please? Okay, Budhayan, I guess And to close.
Right. Thank you all. Thanks, Rajveer sir. Thanks, Deepu. Thanks, Rajiv. Thanks, Eckert. Thanks all. Thanks, Anshuman. Thanks all for joining. See you again. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you, Zopa team.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Lokesh. Thanks, Mr. Monica. Bye.